Well, hello. It's been 3 weeks since I saw you last. Oh, I didn't do an introduction last time. I was so jumping over myself. So my name's Penny. I live in the southeast of England with my husband Pete, and you're more than welcome to join me in a chinwag, in a chat. That's all it is this week. I have done a couple of things, but it's been pretty full on for 3 weeks, and I've been having so many conversations with you in my head. I've just thought, why don't you sit down and record it? Oh no, excuse me, I've just had a cup of tea. Well, that's the reason I haven't sat down and recorded it, because I think, well, it's not going to be good enough. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. All of that goes through my head, so then I don't do it. Then I have a conversation. I think people will be wondering where you are and all of that. Let me sit here. And so anyway, I've decided just to come on and say hello. So how are you? I hope you're all well. It's been a bit fraught here. It's 3 weeks since I've seen you, like I said, but they've been three tricky weeks really. We've had the decorators in, new windows in my bedroom and downstairs. And the men that finally came did a super job, really a super job. But it's full on, you've got them trampling around the house, you've got things all boxed up. I've gone through every box, but I've just got one last one to do. Everything else, I've got, I've done all my clothes down to it's called a capsule wardrobe, isn't it? I've got one. I've got a capsule wardrobe. I'm so proud of it. Few dresses, few skirts, few trousers. I kept everything that I've knitted. So I've got piles, jumpers and cardigans and shawls and what else? Hats. And then, of course, I've got knickers and pyjamas and vests. But they're all in my wardrobe, all folded neatly. That's left all my other cupboards. And I've got a deep drawer like that. That's full of wool. I've got the bottom drawer is full of wadding. The top drawer has got my makeup and, personal things in. And then I've got 3 cupboards. In one cupboard is my sewing stuff. In another cupboard is all my paper crafting, because of course I do paper crafting now. And I'm itching to get back to that, but with everywhere all in a pickle, I just haven't had the brain power. And yeah, in another cupboard, odds and bits, So I've got a Fortnum & Mason hamper. That's full of all my crafting patterns and things I've done and things you always need to put your hands on. So everything's organised here in my bedroom. It's my bedroom crafty space. It's my sitting room. It's my everything room. And I love it. I'm just waiting for the curtains, as you see. And but I've got all my shelves. I'll show you. Let me see. Yeah. Got my shelves there. Sorted. And let's put you back. I do it on my phone now because I've always, for 2 years I've done it on my MacBook, put in a mic, and then I don't know, I think the phone is very, very good. It's got a super camera on it, and so I'm doing it on my phone. So that's that. Anyway, so I haven't seen you for 3 weeks, and the first 3, now have I changed that? Looks like. The first 2 weeks, workmen, clearing out, sorting out, and that was fine, but very hectic and all of that. And then today's Tuesday, last week on Monday, it was a hateful day. Pete woke up, he didn't feel well. In the end, middle of the afternoon, I thought I've got to phone for an ambulance. I phoned for an ambulance. They were lovely. The people the other end were so lovely, but they said, we won't be able to get an ambulance out to you for about 2.5 hours. And that man needs to get to hospital ASAP. And so I phoned a friend. I thought about 50-50, but no, in the end, I decided to phone a friend. And I couldn't manage, Pete. They ask you, how's the pain, out of 10. And the pain for Pete out of 10 was 10. And I thought he had peritonitis. Anyway, he's had it before. And when he had it before, you know, it was pretty dire. He was on life support for, you know, however long it was and all of that. Anyway, don't want to talk about that. He got over it. But I thought it was peritonitis again. So I phoned a friend. He was round within 5 minutes. He helped me get Pete in the car. I drove him to the hospital. And when I walked in the hospital, there was like 250 people waiting. And we just sat in a corridor. That's all there was for us to sit in. We sat in a corridor and we all watched him going down and down. In the end, I had to go round and say to a nurse, I think please come and see him. I think he needs some painkillers. And he got some morphine. And after he got the morphine, things took a turn for the better. And anyway, he came home that night. So I've been looking after him since then. It's now Tuesday, so it's been a week. Our doctors have been great. He's going to see him again tonight. And I think he's going along well, and I think he'll be fine. But it's been a bit like that, you know. Oh, I think I must come on and say hello and have a chat. Do my usual, but yeah, you understand. I've been busy. I have been making, while all that was going on, while all that was going on, all I could do was knit some socks for him. So the sun's gone in, so it's got a bit dark. But you'll have to take me as you find me, and I'll do another one soon. Another chat, I mean. So these are West Yorkshire Spinners, and they're called Starling. And I must admit that as I knitted them, my fingers turned blue. Oh, it was so funny. And you should see the water. I did take a photo of the water when I washed it, but they come up lovely. He likes them. All the time I've always made Pete socks. I've always knitted a 72 stitch, but I've decided I'm going to knit a 68. I've done them the same. You can see that there. I like my socks the same if I can. If I can't, I wouldn't undo it. Doesn't matter. But anyway, I'm happy with these. He loves them. Starling. But I'm going to do 68 stitches next time, not 72. It sounds funny, but I think they stretch a bit. As you know, they're great when I've knitted them, but then they stretch a bit. So yeah, my next pair is 72 stitches. So that I was doing, you know, while we got the workman. I'm sitting in the hospital. No, I didn't knit while I was in the hospital. I just had to look out for him, go and see the nurses, check him out. And I wasn't knitting while I was there. We got there at 6:20, and we finally saw a doctor at 12 o'clock. So it was a long old time. But in the meantime, I'd managed to collar this nurse who gave him some painkillers, which meant that, you know, things were relieved. Let's put it like that. Oh, I'll tell you a funny story. If you're in the mood for it, but it's a bit, you know, if you mention the word bowel, you know, people don't usually talk about that, do they? Anyway, all of this, of course, was connected with his bowel. And last Thursday, well, he was in a tears. He wanted to see a doctor. You know, he was worried. And so I phoned the doctor and she said, well, and we had a chat anyway. At the same time, my bedroom and bathroom and hall stairs landing carpet was being fitted. And the men were taking out, it's a big room here. they were taking out the old underlay, which has been here 23 years. That's how long we've lived here. And it had fallen to bits, basically. So they went downstairs, walked through the hall with this underlay that was falling to bits. And it's all little tiny brown bits, all the underlay. So the whole floor was covered in these little brown bits of underlay. Pete was feeling very tender, very shaky. I need to see a doctor. And he came out of the loo downstairs and walked to his bedroom and then looked back and saw what he thought was, well, yes, you can imagine, can't you? I don't have to spell it out. Of course it wasn't. It was the carpet. So then he goes into a panic. He's not a panicker usually, but this has all been a bit unpleasant. And so, oh, that's a funny story. I'm saying to him, no, it's the carpet underlay, love. Don't worry, you're fine, you're fine. It's the carpet under. Oh, he goes. Anyway, we saw a doctor that day and he said, if you're worried, I understand, come back. And he's going back today for a checkup, so I'm sure he's going to be fine. It's just going to take a little while to get over, and hopefully things will be moving in the right direction. So that was a funny story. So whilst I'm taking him to the doctors and obviously nervous because, you know, been through it all before and all of that. And yeah, now what else can I say? I was knitting socks. So hence he got a pair of Starling socks. Starling, darling, not Starling. Oh, and I finished knitting. Oh, let's put that there. I finished knitting Tegan, my granddaughter-in-law's shawl. Silver River. Isn't it pretty? Can you see up close? I showed you the short rows last time. It's a good size, isn't it? Really good size, the Silver River. Let me put it on. So you put it on that way. But of course you can wear it around the back as well. It's very nice. I'm not doing my best here, but it is my best. So it's very pretty. This has got bits of yellow in it. I think that's Ellie of Craft House Magic. And this is some wool that I got from Anne at Spar Knits. So that's knitted up really nicely. So I was pleased to get that done. And then I thought, let's do something different. I've done all my crafting space out. Everything's done. And there's only one thing outstanding. And that is the jumper that I'm knitting. But I knew I was going to take all winter to do that. I've done the yoke. I've just got to do plain knitting. But I haven't been in the mood to fit it and make sure it's all right. But so that's in my one project bag. And then I've got a quilt that has been ready to quilt for about, well, I would say a year. And I really don't want to quilt it. So I've got to take that to a lady who lives around the corner to me and ask her to machine quilt it. Apart from that, I've got nothing outstanding. Everything else, well, I've got nothing outstanding. So I can cast on, I can do what I want. But I think I'm going to do another shawl for someone. And I always like to have a pair of socks on the go, just for that knitting where you can't, you know, you haven't got any brain space, you just go round in circles. And then the other thing I wanted to do was some sewing. I haven't done any for a while, and I realised, honestly, I've got a stack of quilts. I've got a spare bed in my bathroom. It sounds funny, doesn't it? I tell you what, next time I come on, I'll give you a little tour of my space and then you'll see what I'm talking about. But I've got a pile of quilts like that. I've got two on my bed. a pile of quilts. I don't need any more quilts, but of course other people need them. But I just wanted to do something different. I wanted to see how a quilt as you go would turn out. So I'm doing a small, I mean, it might be that you could use it just as a, you know, just as a little mat. I can add to it and it'll be like a table runner or something like that. Or I can carry on and make another quilt. I'm just going to see how I go. I've got 3 suitcases, old-fashioned suitcases, really lovely ones. And I bought those when I first started quilting. And I've got 3 suitcases full of fabric. So I want to use that stash. So it's going to be a scrappy quilt. I've got a drawer full of wool and some wool on my shelves here. I'll show you that next time. So I want to use that. And so I'll show you my scrappy quilt. It's a quilt as you go. And so what I've done is I've cut out a diamond and I put a bit of wadding behind. I put that in the middle. Yes. And then turn over that edge and sew it. There's your quilt as you go. If you like, I'll show you how to do it. If you want, you'll have to let me know. You might know, you know, but that's what I'm doing. And I started not last night, the night before. I'm just doing a bit in the evening. This is what I've done. So I've got my little oh, that reminds me of little babbies we have, because my mum always used to lick her fingers and then go like that, you know, with the little curls. I think the women in those days did. And that always reminds me of a little babby with a little curl. Anyway, she's in the centre. This is all scrap. It's not scrap, it's some fabric I've got, Tilda, and then there, and then these ones, each one will go there, and that will give me then a straight line all the way round, and then I can make another one and join it on. I can see how big I want to go or how small. I'll show you how to make it if you'd like me to. Just let me know in the comments if you fancy it. It looks like you can see through, doesn't it? But looks like I haven't sewn it properly, but I can assure you I have. It's just because you've got the light behind. There. That's the back. I just do 1 row of quilting through just to make it look quilted on the back. So that's how it looks on the back. So that's what I've been up to. That's what I've been doing. And oh, somebody did ask me, they said that I remind them of Doris Day, and I said, well, that's a funny thing because I've only ever been to one fancy dress party, and I went as Doris Day. And just I found the picture as I was clearing out, and I wore a blonde wig. There I am. And Pete went, shall I take it out? Let me just see. There we are. I went in a charity shop, and this particular charity shop sold 1960s. Well, they had all vintage clothing. I mean, it's a thing now, isn't it? But it wasn't so much then. And it was a shift dress, with a 3/4 length coat in pale pink, and it was absolutely gorgeous. So that's me impersonating Doris Day. I don't think it came off that well, but we had fun anyway. I'll put that away later. So I'm going to say cheerio. I hope you're all well. I know things are going on for some of you that are difficult. Obviously, it happens, doesn't it? I hope to come back next week. I really do. I tell you what, I'll show you my room, and next week my curtains are coming. So after my curtains have come, I'll show you my room finished and show you my crafting bits and all of that. So until then, take care of yourself. The thing is, we always go out for a walk. And I said to Pete, we've had so much rain in England. We must get out for a walk. It's got to be done. So we have been very good and gone out. Not very good because we've loved it. We call it our there and back walk. And so the film this week is our there and back walk into town and back. We don't go right into the shops. We just go into town to the jetty and back. And we try and do that every day. And there was one day this week where it was lovely and sunny. Well, it's lovely and sunny now. It's quite late now. So the sun's going to go down. It was a full moon this week. So we've had a high tide. And very high tide. And today, as we did our there and back, it was quite rough, and the roar of the sea. I think a couple of cars might have got damaged being parked on the jetty there. I know we've got Dave doing some painting here, and he said somebody who knows cars, it was a write-off because we've had very high tides and full moon, and the swell has been enormous. So that's my little film. So I'll see you next week. As soon as the curtains are up, I'll do a little tour, and take care until then. Bye-bye.